can remember going to a restaurant, cafe, having a cup of coffee, going into the bathroom, turning the hot water on and just having my hands under it.
Just to get warm. Up on the hill, we saw another VW van. It's like, oh, there's our people. They have long hair and they have a van. Let's go stop and talk to these people. And back to the ground.
Well, I grew up in Glade. The land that we had was all Doukhobor land. We never had nobody's say, this is mine, that is yours. That was ours. So in sense of knowing where your land was, if my family had 10 heads in my family, I'll count you off so many feet. This is your property. No posts, no surveying, no nothing. If somebody had 5 heads in their family, this is what you have. When I was growing up, I knew all the stuff that was supposed to be done, like plumbing and electrical, and I knew how to do it. I didn't have no papers. I just went out because I knew how to do it. And every community had a deal, like Glade, Schregers, Trams, Brilliant. There was 16 or 17 communities that had young people coming up, and they had choirs, they made plays and stuff. So almost every other week they come to Glade, bringing their songs, and we all get together and sing, and they present their part.
I think that in those days that I remember my childhood, the only thing the parents actually had to buy was probably flour and sugar. There was butter, there was cheese, there was everything.
Everything was
There was trees, we had apples, and we also had Saskatoon berries. So in the mornings we'd go and pick the Saskatoons, and grandmother or somebody would make the fruit tarts. We did start to build a relationship with the community of friends in Argenta.
Well, we were concerned, about the militarism in the States. And it wasn't just militarism, it was, materialism and all that sort of thing. And we wanted to go live in the country somewhere where our children would have the opportunity to know that work was important.
We came up on the Grant Hall. The Moyer was being repaired. So when we arrived, there were all these people meeting us, and they had heard that we were coming. George Begwin, before we'd been on the dock 5 minutes, he offered us a cow. After being here from 1952 until 55, 56, at that point we began realizing that there were many educators who were in the Argenta area.
We felt that there was a need in the world today for the type of school that we could produce, and we opened in 1959 in the fall with 10 students.
We headed for Nakusp, BC. We turned up the Slocan Valley and picked up a hitchhiker. As we came through the tunnel that used to be at the south end of Slocan Lake, and it opened up onto the lake and the mountains. This was in early September. I was just blown away by how beautiful it was. And I turned to my partner and said, I don't know where Nakusp is, but this is really beautiful. And I turned to this girl that we had picked up hitchhiking and said, do you know of any places around here, inexpensive places for rent maybe? And she said, you should go to Hills. I think you might like it in Hills. So I've been here ever since.
We really, really loved the forest and loved the land. Yeah. And felt very comfortable there. I still do.
And feel like protecting it?
I feel more comfortable like in the forest than I do in downtown Vancouver, that's for sure.
Land was cheap. People were buying farms for $3,500. I didn't have $3,500, but yeah, it was an easy way to get into the back to the land movement, I think, here.
There had been such bad press about the Doukhobors, the Sons of Freedom, and all that sort of stuff, you know, that most Canadians were afraid to move into the area.
Absolutely. And
so that's why the prices were so low. They were nice people.
I was going to say our contacts with them defied all of the bad press because they were wonderful, gracious, giving people, you know.
We wanted it to be very structured and legal, and we wanted people, each person, to choose what job they felt they would have the most ability to do. And I learned more in that first year than I ever learned in school. And I really noticed it toward the end of that year. I thought, I'm a different person. I haven't even bothered to look at myself in a mirror because that nothing mattered except doing things together. I just felt like I learned how to milk a cow. I learned how to grow things in the garden. I learned how to make shakes. I learned how to use a hammer. I was totally willing to learn, just keep learning.
I was what I call a bush midwife at that point because there were no midwives. And one friend called me and said, I want you to come and be with me, and I'm having this baby at home. And I'm like, oh my God, Kate, I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. She said, well, if you don't come and be with me, I'm just going to do it by myself. So I did. And then someone else asked me, so then I got the taxi driver book. Taxi drivers have a book on what to do for if a baby's born in the back. So, and then, you know, several people would come up to me and say, I hear you're a midwife. And I say, no, I don't call myself that. I will come and help if you feel like you want another woman there to help.
You know, we weren't hippies anymore now. We were back to the landers. But, I mean, certainly if anybody saw me on the street, they would have called me a hippie. And I was certainly known as a hippie chick. But by this time, we were back to the landers. And communists. Not communists, but communists, you know. We had some terminology. And one of the main themes was the meditators and the yahoos. Now, the yahoos, everybody liked to take some LSD. Everybody liked to smoke marijuana. I was one of the yahoos. And we were the people that would run around and have acid trips and have a lot of fun with our acid trips. And then there were the meditators. They would meditate and levitate when they would do the drugs.
It felt on the edge, and maybe confusing at times. There was a lot of sex going on around. And, you know, the drug thing, like, I mean, when I look back as an adult, you know, and I have 6 kids, 6 daughters, you know, I look back and I go, oh my God. You know, I mean, I was 10 when I first took acid in Cottonwood, Arizona. We were on our way back from Mexico. Yeah. But, you know, and in one way it's like, oh my God, that's like horrifying, right? Like maybe I had to make some decisions that I maybe shouldn't have had to make. But then again, as Mom was saying, I don't know whether I'd be able to do the things I can do now if I hadn't had to do that. It was definitely an interesting time of discovery, I think.
Yeah. They have TVs, and TVs are full of long-haired people who are doing drugs all the time, and so that's what they've got, you know? Like, they don't want their children to be affected by this.
Well, and the I can't remember, it was the FBI, I guess, came up and met with the police and the RCMP and stuff, told what dangerous people we were. So a certain segment of the society had been primed by those people to look at us very suspiciously.
We went to the Slocan Inn, to the bar.
Oh, yeah. And David got
After a
beat up.
hard day of work. I think we had a car then.
Yeah.
It was David and I and Bing and
Slow Canyon.
yeah,
yes.
and music might have had something to do with it. Maybe there was a band there or something. David went down to the bathroom and got the shit beat out of him for just
by
being a
some
hippie.
loggers that just
Yeah,
didn't like
just,
hippies.
just beat him up for no reason.
Yeah.
Smashed his teeth in, and I mean, just that was awful. And then Jones' store was the store at Winlaw that now where the little gas pumps are and stuff. That was called Jones' store. Welsh woman,
Mrs.
Jones,
Jones,
Mrs.
yes.
Jones, and she was very frosty.
And that was the situation. And so no wonder we kind of flocked together. You know, it's like there was protection in numbers. And here we were, all these hippie ladies are building houses, wielding chainsaws. You know, we did heavy work. We worked hard, and you're not going to
Tree planting,
You're
forest
not going to tell
firefighting.
me what to do when I can do it myself.
We were in Vancouver. We were reading the paper. Dave, who was our fearless leader, and he says, "Hey, look at this article. It says this gives you brain damage." I've done that. And this gives you brain damage. You done that? Oh yeah, we've done that. Yeah, and we're all going, oh yeah. He says, maybe that should be the name for our band.
It's the kind of thing that we would have all been talking and joking about going from the hole, you know, once the hole was an actual place. Well, we'd been so, are you going down to the hole? We kind of just kept saying that, and it slid into that. So having one's own space was fabulous, and, you know, taking care of it and having, you know, a place for weddings and funerals and performances and the school, and, you know, for absolute sure that brought this community together.
I was excited about making our own theater, and I think that was a counterculture aspect that was in all of the arts. It was like throwing off the shackles and going, okay, we want to do this. We want to make our own plays.
Creativity was a primary focus for me. Sometime in the early 70s, I realized that I really wanted to be a potter. And that had been a dream before we came up here. I met Norman White, he's a good friend of ours, and he taught me how to make pots and also how to fire them. And he let me use his kiln. And I think creativity just burst into bloom after we'd all been here maybe 5-6 years.
We had the privilege of a good education and kind of a lot of chutzpah. And we came up and just went, we will do something about this. We're not going to stand for logging to our borders or possibly endangering our water. Are you kidding me?
We stopped the spraying they were going to spray Spike, which is Agent Orange, basically, the whole railway line from the cusp to Nelson. And we stopped that. And now the rail line doesn't even go there anymore. It's a walking path, it's a bike path. That was a really good protest. And it worked.
I got involved in the alternative school that was started here in Hills. Well, it was a parent cooperative, so you had to be helping out. It wasn't where you could just send your children. Children had the freedom to decide what they wanted to do that day. When we would have out the materials and projects on offer, but there were rules of, we don't hurt other people. We speak nicely to each other and work out any problems with kindness and patience. And we did, they learned to read and write, but it was one of the most creative, fulfilling times of my life, for sure.
We are disciples or students of Swami Radha, who founded the center, or her successor, Swami Radhananda. So Swami Radha went to an ashram in India in the 1950s, brought back the teachings and started this ashram. It's about people who wanted to know, what is life about? Is there something more than like every day? There was a saying that Swami Radha's guru, Gurudev Shivananda, said, selfless service will make you divine. So that idea is give more and you receive more. Because what Swami Radha said is people try to relate on this level horizontally, but there needs to be something that you're moving towards together, some higher purpose. And we want other people to benefit from what we're doing. And we do have teachings that have helped us, so we want to share those.
Believing that we can do anything, and sort of that aesthetic choosing of what kind of society we want to live in. For me, those are empowering things that live on around here. Because I do believe we're still sort of trying to choose, what kind of world we can live in, and the idea that I sort of feel like there's this pressing in from the outside, this idea that we can't choose. No, it has to be like this. The economy says it has to be like this. It has to be like, and no, it doesn't. There's actually lots of economies. There's lots of ways it can go, and those are some of the things, like that creative thinking, the out-of-box thinking, the sort of the sense that we can change and influence the world around us. For me, that's what's really significant, and that sort of allows people to be artists. It's the courage to be an artist. It's the courage to call what you do art.
Yeah, you're just emphasizing that point of being responsive and responsible to community. It's not someone else that's going to do it. You can't count on someone else doing it. You really have to do it yourself, and do it together with other people. But yeah, don't give it away.
Make the world that you want.
Let your freak flag fly. That was one of the things that we used to say. Don't be afraid, let your freak flag fly.
Never